Welcome back, everyone, to 1 Minute Recess, where we dive into the news, politics, drama, so much drama, and off the record moments shaping Nevada and beyond. My name's Annette Magnus.
And I'm Maite, short for Maria Teresa, and together, like we do every week, except last week, we're back from break. We had to take a week off. Together,
It was a lot.
it was a lot for, our day jobs because we work. And so we needed some well earned rest. And so now we're back to explore what really happens during those 1 minute recesses that aren't 1 minute. The drama, the cultural chaos, both on the floor and off, from political drama to that cultural chaos. We're here to ask what the fuck is going on out there. So, Annette, let's go to our first part.
The recess rundown. Let's talk about those 1 minute recesses and the cheat sheet to all things the Nevada legislature. We are in the thick of it, friends. We are in the thick of NV Ledge. Things are really starting to heat up. We are at the end now. Everybody's tired. Everybody hates each other. Everybody's tempers are flaring. People are blaming people for dumb shit that didn't happen. It's quite the adventure, Maria. It's been quite the adventure the past week. And this is why we needed to take a break, friends, because last week I think Maria knew I was in quite the state because of one of the bills that I was working on. And so, yeah, we've reached that part of session where the shit is hitting the fan every other way, right and left. It's crazy. So let's talk about that. You ready?
The home stretch.
The home stretch. I got 2 weeks left, everyone. Pray for me. And maybe a special session or 5. We don't know. But we'll see. There's probably hundreds of bills left for Ways and Means and Finance to deal with. So
Hundreds?
yeah, that's what somebody told me today. Hundreds. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not super closely keeping track of those like we used to in our old job, but there was a certain expert that may have been sitting on my couch with me last night saying, why the hell are they not meeting on Saturdays yet? Because typically the budget committees would start meeting on Saturdays in the month of May to really get through a lot of that work. Today, the internet went down for about 4 hours in the building. At one point, there might have been a conversation, is there Russian hackers attacking us? To which we all were like, maybe. Maybe it's just the internet from 1864 in this building.
If only we had money to make it better.
So yeah, Maria, it's been a real pleasure. It's been a real treat. I will say, and just a shout out to one of my clients, the Asian Community Development Council, yesterday, we had our big celebration for AANHPI Heritage Day at the Nevada Legislature. It was a beautiful celebration. We had all of the different AANHPI caucus members. We probably fed 300 people from all over the building. We had these adorable dancers from Gardnerville and Reno. We had cultural folks there. We got these books. We had the author come. So this book is written by Harry Shum Jr. So for those who know him, he was on Glee.
Yeah.
He was the Asian actor on Glee, and he's been in Crazy Rich Asians, which is my very favorite movie. But his wife was there, and she is an incredible force in her own right, Shelby Rabara, and she and him wrote this book together. So she came and signed these books and met with the kid dancers. She did a little dance with the people who were there. So like all the attaches came and like all the participants were there and some of the legislators. It was so cute.
Oh.
So that's what I've been doing with my week is like trying to make my bills stay alive and also planning Heritage Day, which actually was beautiful and wonderful. And it was a nice break from the legislative nonsense that happens in that building. So it was great. So shout out to ACDC, the Asian Community Development Council. Shout out to the AANHPI caucus. It was an amazing day. I loved it. So, all right, let's talk about the session. Maria, what are you wondering about? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know?
Yeah, now that I'm not there anymore and obsessing over analysis and what's going on, you talked a little bit about the mood. The mood is always the home stretch we've talked about before, tends to be chaotic, for lack of a better term, tense, for lack of a better term, like any session, because it's like we have talked about before, Carson City is on its own up there. There's nothing in between it and Reno or Lake Tahoe. So like people are in an island basically, and you just really want to get out of there. But is this year any different than regular years? Is it worse? Is it better?
I think it's worse. I think it's worse because there's no money.
It doesn't help. Yeah.
So like it's always tense because we're always counting couch pennies. But I think it's worse this session. And I've been saying that all session, right? Each what podcast, I'm like, I think it's worse. I think it's worse. It's officially worse. And it's interesting, I think, being less in the advocacy space because I'm not in the advocacy space, even though people still think I am and think I have this like ability to control activists, which
You are.
I have a lot of activist friends and I have a lot of activist people in my life who I care deeply about. But I ain't out there rabble rousing like I used to be.
You
And
are
I
a
get
mom
blamed
and
for
pop
shit.
businesswoman.
Right. I get blamed for shit still. And I'm like, listen, I love that you think I'm a witch and I can just like conjure people up to do shit. But I don't have a 20,000 person list anymore. I don't have access to this big, broad network of, progressives like I used to. I don't have access to the things I used to have. Now, I do have a lot of relationships and I will use those strategically. But to think I can like conjure shit up simply because my name is Annette, like I also my business model's different now. So that's been an interesting transition for me because people still think I am out there stirring shit. And I listen, I love a good shit stir. I love a good shit stir. But sometimes I'm not the one stirring the shit. I just am like, I get blamed for shit I didn't even do. I may as well just do the shit because I'm getting blamed for it anyways. I may as well just do it.
Here's a
It's
wild.
really some shit, Maria. I've never seen anything like it.
Here's a wild thought. As someone who is like totally
You've
disconnected.
seen what I can do. I could have nuked the building, and I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I've noticed as I've been disconnected and like sometimes just randomly check the ambulance hashtag or something. And
Text me.
And also,
are you okay? Are you alive?
Yeah. And also combining that with the experience that we've had in legislative sessions is that sometimes random people, literally random people, will just care about something. I know we're not used to people caring, but sometimes random people will just care and they will care so much that anyone involved with it, with whatever you're dealing with, will come out. They'll come out in droves or in intensity. I mean, we've had to sit through people talk about chemtrails during a gun violence prevention hearing. People we've never heard.
We're not laughing at the gun violence, just to be clear.
No.
We're laughing at the chemtrail people.
Yeah, they would literally talk about something not related and how we need to talk about the chemtrails and don't take my guns because chemtrails are more important. But it would, sometimes you get the most random involvement from people because random people will care. And I think that's also what's surprising every time, whether it's a person in office or a lobbyist or anyone, another citizen, another person that is like, why are people so intense? Because they might just really care about that issue. Now you shouldn't care so much that you like threaten people's lives. Which you have received.
I have literally received fucking death threats over this shit. I would never. I had a legislator, and I'm not going to say names and I'm not going to say bills because I ain't getting blamed for this. I had a legislator. I was in their office. I was talking to them very calmly, very nicely about one bill. Then I transitioned to the other bill that was controversial for no reason. I walked out of their office. 20 minutes later, Maria, I'm not kidding. 20 minutes later, this legislator gets an email from a crazy person, from a literal crazy person who I don't know. And it was like, I'm going to hold you accountable, blah, 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 dumb shit. And the legislator was like, you did it. I don't even know the fucking person. And they were like, you did it. No, I didn't. Listen, I have a lot of powers, magical things I can do.
Interior decorating.
Literally didn't do this. Yeah, I can run a mean event. I can do a lot of like crafty shit. I literally didn't do this. So we're at that point of session where that kind of I had to bend about it for a minute because like it's been the dumbest week I've had at the legislature in quite some time. Where one of the caucuses is blaming me for something that I literally didn't do. And I'm not just saying that on this podcast. Maria knows me. If I've stirred the shit, I will claim I've stirred the shit because I want the credit for it. I want the credit that I stirred the shit. And I was just standing in a hallway getting yelled at about some stuff I didn't do. And I was like, well, okay, apparently I can conjure things I didn't do, but all right.
Speak things into the wind, apparently.
Fucking the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
And I think it's an important also disclaimer for people that might want to get into this work or are new to the legislature and want to know what it's like inside the building. Whenever people, like regular people, do the part that the people do in a legislative session, which is accountability. Accountability,
which is totally allowed and legal, and they should do that if they're elected officials.
House. It's why it's the people's branch of government.
We should not listen. Neither one of us, in all of our time in the Nevada legislature or dealing with our federal delegation, as somebody who has gotten death threats for this work, specifically from the Bundy weirdos, right? I would never tell somebody to harm anyone. Lobbyists, elected officials. Like, that is fucking insane. And I have been the victim of that. Never. But sometimes, when people hold you accountable, there was a legislator, so there's a situation where a legislator was sort of responsible for killing some young people's bill. And this legislator told a group of kids over the weekend that they were cyberbullying the legislator. Holding elected officials accountable is not cyberbullying, it's not doxing, it's none of those things. Never once did they publish her fucking address, never once did they publish personal information. Your email as a legislator is on the frickin' website. Your phone number is on the frickin' website. As a lobbyist, your fucking information is on the website. You can see on my badge that I wear every day as a lobbyist, you can go online and see every single client that I am lobbying for in real time. I'll tell you all who I'm lobbying for because I don't have anything to hide. You can see that information publicly. People are not stupid. Journalists are not stupid. They will make connections. They will Google. Because if you put my name in right now, guess what? One of the first things that comes up, if you put my name in right now, is the lobbyist list from this session.
Yeah. And for those people that might be going, well, it's still, difficult to deal with. It's the whole point of the whole branch.
For office.
It's the whole point of the people's branch.
I am a public figure.
Yeah. And if you're a lobbyist, guess what? You're a public figure. If you don't want to be one, don't be a lobbyist. And you can say, well, I'm not a legislator, but you are a public figure. You're not elected, but you are lobbying my legislators. And I get to find out who is paying you to say something I didn't like in testimony. And I get to do that as, guess what? A fellow Nevadan who pays the very, very small money that our legislators get. And I have immense respect for legislators, especially because they get a pittance. I have respect, but probably not as much for lobbyists, not as much because some get paid a disgusting amount of money.
Whatever. I mean, I don't care how much. Listen, pay me. I don't care. I'm there now.
It's true. But I kind of respect people that get a pittance and do just as much or more. But
here's the thing, right? When I signed up to be a lobbyist, when we were at our former job, in any of my previous jobs, and now in my current business, right? I am the person who decided what I lobby on. I am the person who decided at our old job what issues we would advocate for and against. I am the person now with my company as my contract lobbyist who decides what I do and don't lobby for, what I do and don't lobby against. I made a decision to lobby for all my clients, knowing there is a possibility for pushback there. There is the possibility my client could do something that I don't agree with. You make that conscious decision as a lobbyist. You have to decide, am I going to lobby with this group or not? So when you make that decision and then you put it on your badge, that is public information. And if you haven't thought that through, that's your fucking problem. That's not my fucking problem. Because any journalist can Google my name right now. And please, I encourage you to do so, actually. Google my name right now and see who I lobby for. I have nothing to hide because I have thought through every single one of my clients. And if you don't like something I lobby for, then hold me accountable.
And hold up.
Nothing to hide.
while we're in this, because
As you can all tell, I'm real pissed off about this.
hang on, I'm gonna do an experiment.
That's right. Pull it up, Maria. Pull up my name.
I'm going to do an experiment because, a couple months ago we did a how you register for Nellis, because that's the main point of access for
Yes.
anyone in Nevada to have all of this information. So let's take it, let's actually, we're not live, but here, instead of a little clip, show people what you're saying, because it literally is just Googling.
I'm so excited to see this. Well, also, Envy Ledge is down, so I don't know if you're going to be.
Wait, hang on, let me just check that first.
I just was literally texting with somebody who was like, the legislative website is still down. I'm going home.
It actually is still down.
You can't
It's
even do
still
what you're
loading.
going to do. Never mind, friend. You can't Google my name right now because the Nevada legislative website
I am so
was
excited. It is
possibly hacked by the Russian hackers. We don't know.
It's scrolling, it's black screen. But anyway.
Anyways, on a regular day, just go to the Nevada legislative website. You can see every single lobbyist on there, including my ass. And guess what? It's public information. And I'm not telling anybody a secret. Just Google my name. You can find it. And I have nothing to hide. And if you want to hold me accountable, I encourage you to do so because I have nothing to hide from anyone.
Because you, like you said, you know the consequences of
course
of this.
Choose your fucking clients wisely. Like, I've never seen anything like this. And then blame somebody else for your dumb decisions? Like, what? How about just take accountability for your dumb decisions? Because that's really what it boils down to, is this person just doesn't want to take accountability. Anyways, I can rage about this. This has been a week-long saga of my life that is like a waste of my time and energy. The bill was super important to me because of my own animals and things like that. But goddamn, it was such a waste of my time and energy dealing with the drama, not the bill, the drama from it. Because there was all this spun up make-believe drama from it. And again, I got the blame for it. Somebody was told yesterday, well, she must have done it.
Bullshit.
We know what she's capable. We know what she's capable of.
Bullshit. So
I appreciate you know I have skills, but in this instant, I didn't actually fucking do a fucking thing.
So
do better.
As someone who individually gives a shit about this bill that we're talking about, which is the one you were talking about, also I follow a few like small like pet rescue organizations here in Instagram from Nevada, have been for a while, and they talk about the
all of this
legislation and general issues. They've talked about a puppy mill issue.
I don't even know what you're talking about because I ain't on there, Maria.
Yeah, and so and I see them and I'm like, oh wow, and I'm like, that's crazy, and it's not. And I remember going into some of these pages and going, I wonder if like the algorithm suggested it to me because I follow advocacy. No advocacy pages I follow or follow me. It's literally just, I don't know, people who love rescuing pets and really give a shit, and because it's their core issue, they're plugged in, and maybe they have a Google alert for certain things like dog, puppy mill, pet store, and they follow along with what people are doing around this, whether it's in Carson City, in Las Vegas City Council, or just news around it. And then they care and tell their friends.
You know what really pissed me off about this, and you remember this story. So, and I really haven't talked about this much, but it just kind of came to me as you were talking about that. So obviously, a lot of folks know, based on my Instagram handle and stuff, I adore my dogs. It is one of the things I am most passionate about in my life personally, like as a person, as a human being. Rescued all three of them. Two of them were pugs, Roosevelt and Eleanor. I used to volunteer when the pug rescue, because rescue work is incredibly taxing, especially on the volunteers who do it. Thankless jobs. I used to host their annual fundraiser for them every year. And it would be at a park. It was called Pugorama. It was super fun. It would be Halloween themed. They would dress the pugs up in costumes. I think you've probably even gone to one or two. So in 2019, the pug rescue closed, sadly, and I was devastated. In 2018, during the election cycle, there was a Pugorama. It was every October. So even in election years, I would tell the staff, hey, I got to go. I got to do this one thing on a Saturday for the pug rescue. So one year I was hosting, And I get a call from Jennifer at the rescue out at the park, and her and Jessica were out there. And they were like, this guy showed up looking for you with a gun. With a gun. Because he knew you'd be hosting the event again this year. And when we cornered him and asked him what he was doing, he said he was looking at you because he wanted to teach you a lesson about the gun violence prevention work I did in my previous work. And Nick was like, so we're going home to get the gun, right? And I remember thinking to myself, like, these crazy people, because they are crazy people, and we got them on both sides, these crazy people found me at a fucking pug rescue event because of the work I do in real life, not because of my pug rescue work, because of the shit I do in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Came to the event I was hosting and threatened me. So if you want to talk about threats doing this work, of all the people in this fucking world, I get it. And I would never, never do that to somebody else. So somebody insinuating that I would do that to somebody, not only is it insulting, it's actually fucking dangerous. And it's disturbing to me that people would think that I would actually do something like that, because in all of my advocacy, and I've done a lot of shit, and you've done a lot of shit with us, I would never do some shit like that. We would never encourage violence because I have lived it. I've experienced it. You've experienced it. Why the fuck would we want that for someone else? Or our legislators? There's a difference in crazy and accountability. I believe in accountability. I don't believe in fucking crazy. And it's insulting that somebody would insinuate that about me.
Yeah. No. And for
The whole week has been fucking insulting. Because I would have done a much better job also if I was going to actually do advocacy on this bill.
And, for the non-violent, for the real accountability that people do, if it's stern and strong, then maybe if
it's saying we're going to unelect you, that is totally legit accountability.
It's what voting is for. If not,
yes, it's what elections are for. It's what democracy is for.
And people get to tell you about that if you are a legislator.
If you're a student, if you're a legislator,
you get to hold people that have impact on the laws accountable, and you get to tell them what you feel and what you think in your house, in the people's house. I don't need to be an elected official or a lobbyist to get in. Why? Because y'all work for every Nevadan in here, in this state. So those people get to tell you things, and if they cross a line, like we said, then that's an issue. But if they don't cross a line, but they're strong and it just hurts your feelings, I'm sorry, put your big girl skirt on and deal with it. And just simply, there have been great politicians that have done great responses to, I completely, thank you for being involved. I disagree. We disagree. But please, my door is open. Like, that is what people want to hear. This is the kind of stuff of why people that might want to care about or get involved in, like, the legislature or politics end up not wanting to do it, because when they actually hold someone accountable, they get the door shut in their face. Like, I've had legislators when I was volunteering.
When you worked for me.
I had a senator that was
yes, you did.
Senator.
And then I've turned around and worked with on this issue.
And this one is the one that ended up going to prison.
Wrong one.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know my donations paid for certain things. That's great. So, but I remember going to him, and I was going there as a volunteer, and I asked, certain things. It was a walk and talk type of thing. And I started with, hey, I drove up from Las Vegas. I'm your legend. He looked at me like he didn't have the time for me.
Ugh.
And I just stood there and was like, because, there is, look, and this is not Annette saying this. This is Maria Teresa Lieberman Barraga, registered voter.
I can't read Maria's mind right now, so I don't know what's coming out. This is not scripted.
But especially to the people that are elected in that office from any and all parties, don't treat regular people taking time out of their day to either email you, call you, or stand in front of you, and they want to talk to you about something, and treat them like they're a bad person or like you don't have time.
Yeah, but they don't want to hear from their constituents.
And that's bullshit.
They come up here, they live in a bubble, they're all running for another office, and they don't want to hear from regular schmegular people. That's what they're really upset. That's what they're blaming me for. They don't want to hear from their actual constituents, which is garbage. And I will continue to say that's garbage. Just like saying certain bills shouldn't get hearings or saying certain things shouldn't be, on the agenda when real voters are asking for those things to happen or asking for those things to be heard. That's what we elect you to do. And it is totally fair for somebody who is your constituent to then say, I'm going to hold you accountable and unelect you for that. You shouldn't get in your feelings about that. You should do better.
Yeah.
You should do better.
Yeah. You should absolutely do better. And how many times have we sat in some hearing or in some meeting where a legislator says, I just wish more people, testified on
No, they
it, or I
don't.
wish more regular people just, got involved. But then they do. They get a letter or two, an email or two,
And it's like the world is crumbling down and
collapsing. And I don't get it. It is horrifying. And, if you are a Trump supporter, you might want to, mute this part. But especially to people on the other side, because right now the president is, Donald J. Trump. And a lot of people are holding him accountable every single day, as they should, for any elected official. So, to all my friends who might be on the opposing side of Donald Trump, should we stop holding Trump accountable? And don't you dare say I'm equating you to Donald Trump, because I'm not. I'm saying he is a public official. You are a public official.
It's the same thing. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican.
Should I hold Donald Trump accountable and talk about what he does? Or should I just be quiet because his feelers might get hurt? No. And it shouldn't be like that for a Republican. It shouldn't be like that for a Democrat, a Green Party, a Purple Party, or whatever.
The dog catcher. I don't give a shit who they are. They work for the people who elect them. They work for taxpayers. Anyways, I rage about this for hours. I am just going to say this. I will forever, regardless of who I lobby for, regardless of what issue I lobby on, I will forever believe that the legislature, Congress, should be held accountable to do their jobs that we elect them to do. I don't care what party's in charge. I don't care what people are in charge. I don't care whether they're my friends. I don't care whether they're my foes. I've made friends with lots of people in this building. I will hold those people accountable just like I hold the Republicans accountable, just like I hold the Democrats accountable. In fact, I should hold the Democrats more accountable because I expect them to do better. So, at the end of the day, the vibe of this session, because we just raged about this for 30 minutes, the vibe of this session is, I don't think just because we're up shit creek without a paddle and we don't have money and we don't have the things we need thanks to the federal government. That is not a state legislative problem. That is a Donald Trump Republican problem. I don't think me advocating for a bill or anyone else, citizen or lobbyist, advocating for a bill should be pinned on me simply because the public is holding them accountable. Because people care about issues and people are paying attention, whether they want them to or not. And I'm not going to stop advocating for issues that I care about. And I'm not going to say I'm sorry because people's feelings get hurt because they get held accountable. Like, that's not my problem. If you've got a problem, then do better. That's probably on you. And I know you need somebody to blame because that's like the vibe in the building right now is everybody needs somebody to blame. And on this issue, I'm getting the blame. There were 6 other lobbyists that worked on this too. Why am I the only one getting the blame? Listen, again, I know my skills are real good, but we don't control the crazies out in the community. That's not how this works. They do their own thing. So maybe educate yourselves on how that works. And maybe start talking to those people so they don't do dumb shit.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about the bills that are dying. Nevada Current, our dear friend April Corbin, had a very good tracker up today. I saw it on her social media. And so just want to brag about it. We'll put the tracker up and checking on the Nevada legislature, what's on Death Watch. That's what caught my attention. And what's still kicking. And I appreciated that. We will put the link in the chat to that. It's a really good tracker that April's doing. So take a look at that. I want her to get all the credit for this work. So 2 weeks left of session, basically, at this point, and there's a lot of bills stuck in these committees, including one of mine. So, big bills stuck in the budget committees. I'll give you highlights from the list, but like I said, we'll put the list that April compiled in the chat. So, we have SB 244, which is a cool one, that it would allow Nevada Medicaid to include approving weight loss drugs like Ozempic for a wider use. Awesome.
Amazing.
Especially for the chunky people. We got SB 2, which is Senator Roberta Lang's film tax credit. That's an important one. And honestly, I mean, I think both bills are very interesting proposals, but from everything I've heard, and I haven't done a ton of work on this might be the better bill. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they reconcile that, because there are two bills that exist. One is Senator Lang's, and one is Assemblymember Howdigee's bill. Assemblymember Howdigee's bill has been heard in Ways and Means. I don't think Senator Lang's has been heard yet. And so both of those are stuck in the Finance and Ways and Means committees, which are the money committees. And so we'll have to see where that goes. That is the big hot ticket item, and we will talk about that more in a moment. We also have Senator Canizaro's important assisted reproductive treatment bill, which includes in vitro fertilization. Obviously, incredibly important. Codify that because of the Trump administration, because they're batshit crazy on all things reproductive rights.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously I'm watching that very closely. That's stuck in Senate Finance. I'm hopeful that that one will move, because I think that's really important. SB 199, that there's a lot this session around artificial intelligence, a lot of AI stuff that exists. So that's Senator Dina Neal's bill around guardrails around artificial intelligence. A couple others too that are stuck in budget committees. The one that is near and dear to my heart, that is stuck in Ways and Means, is Assemblymember Max Carter's AB 378, which is our medical, so I can't even talk. I'm so tired. It's our shroom bill. Yes, it's the mushroom bill. It is the psilocybin bill for the pilot project for former first responders and for veterans. It's very important, very near and dear to my heart. Probably shouldn't say that on here because somebody's probably going to send it to the Senate and they'll kill it, but that's fine.
How dare you talk about something that's public information like a bill?
Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, it's stuck in Ways and Means. We're going to see where that one goes. We've also rewritten it to not include HHS. We really want to work with HHS, but if we got to get a fiscal note out of it, we now have the ability to do that. So that one's stuck in Ways and Means as well. I know that both of those chairs are working very hard to get through all these bills, but everything's kind of piling up there because of the fiscal crisis. There's a lot of housing bills that are still out there. There's a lot of consumer protections bills that are still out there, including Senate Bill 316, which is Senator Rochelle Wynn's bill. It's on PBMs, so a lot of conversation around PBMs this year. I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of healthcare bills that I'm watching still. AB 290 is one of the ones, it's not on this list, but it's one of the ones that I'm watching very closely. Assemblymember Wynn's bill around prior authorization, so being able to speed up prior authorization times with insurance companies. So obviously that can be life-saving for people, so something that I'm watching very quickly on that. A lot of labor issues still out there. The other one that's near and dear to my heart, I'm working on it through my Mom's Rising client, is AB 112. That's also Assemblymember Wynn's bill, but I'm working on it with our union brothers and sisters, and that allows them to now use their sick time to care for their family members, called King Care. So that one's still hanging out there too. Really care about that one. A lot of around business, revenue, economic development. Giant education bills that are still hanging out there. I know the governor's bill got moved today, one of the other bills that the governor's had. So let me just say, we are 2 weeks out from Sine Die. Sine Die is officially June 2nd. That means the legislature constitutionally is mandated to end on June 2nd. We have a lot of bills here. We have a lot of bills hanging out there, and we have not had a lot of stuff go to the governor. Last year, by this time, we already had those gun bills over to the governor, and I believe tomorrow is the anniversary of when he vetoed them. I believe it was May 21st, if my memory serves me correctly. Somebody can correct me on the internet if I'm wrong. But we had already had bills to the governor, and he was vetoing shit. That barely has happened at this point. And so the big bills are still lingering out there. There's giant legislation, important legislation that is still lingering out there. So there's still a ton of work to be done. So yeah, we're I hope we get done on time, or otherwise a lot of good stuff's gonna die. We'll see. We'll see.
Also, by this time, I remember going to the building on weekends a lot.
Oh yeah.
By this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get why we're not doing that. I would be there.
Yeah, because it's 120 days, not 120
Calendar days. Every single day counts, including weekends, friends. So.
And the people's business is kind of important. Unless y'all are planning a S word.
Don't you put that in the universe for
Say
me?
it.
I swear to God, I will cut you. Anyways, Envy Ledge. It never gets old. Except for when it does, and I think every single one of us is ready to go home. So let's talk a little bit more about the film tax credits. Ray, what are you hearing on the ground down in Vegas right now? Any word? What have you been watching on the film tax credits? Because it is a huge conversation in the building as to whether or not that will move or not, because we don't know if the money exists, and we don't even know if the governor will sign it. So what are you hearing on it?
So, interestingly enough, mostly see stuff about this in like the newspapery blog type things. I hate to say this, but the stuff that I've been seeing like on the news a lot were all the pet bills. That's what all the TV stations wanted to cover.
As my eye starts twitching,
there would be stuff here and there about like, oh, they're thinking about this film tax bill, will it happen, but not a lot of detail, at least from what I've seen. So just that Hollywood might be coming to Vegas, and we'll see when they decide. It's been a lot of stuff has been very positive that, we're going to come to Vegas, make hopefully more jobs, but that's about the most of it.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll see what happens next week. Only time will tell. Probably next week I'm going to have to do this from the building, everyone, because it'll probably be midnight sessions, I'm guessing, next week. So, I might be doing this from floor session. Who knows at this point?
Hell yeah.
I'll be running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to save things. So let's see what happens. There's a lot of bills that I'm still following. So a lot of bills that I'm still working on, a lot of big bills that I'm still working on. So we'll have to see.
I do have a question on the film bills. What is the main difference between the two bills?
Well, one is Howard Hughes, and that is Sandra Howdige's bill. That one has basically the whole lobby corps lobbying for it at this point. And that one is very centered on Howard Hughes, the Summerlin area, building up through Howard Hughes. They say that one's shovel ready. I don't know. Some of the building trades, not all, but some of the building trades are behind that bill. I've heard both bills have not been working with all of the unions, though, which is a problem. And so if they want to do any of that kind of industry, they should be working with all of the unions, because as we've said before, if you're going to do tax credits, then it needs to be union projects for our union family. On the Senate side, Senator Lang was the original person to run this bill. She was the OG of the film tax credit bill last session.
She brought us Jeremy Renner. She brought us Hawkeye.
It was the original bill, and, some of that kind of fell apart right after session. I always thought it was the better deal than the stupid stadium, but what do I know? Anyway, so, to her credit, this was kind of something that she's led on. Aaron Ford kind of started it before that. C.H. Miller worked on it, and then Roberta really kind of took it on. And so for me, I think this bill is very interesting because it's more focused on education. It's more focused on building up UNLV, really investing in that educational piece. I mean, the Howard Hughes one does it a bit, but I think both bills are very interesting. And personally, because before in our old jobs, we didn't get to talk about this stuff as much because it was the public financing piece of it that our organization fundamentally was opposed to. I think personally for these bills, it's very interesting. It's a lot of money. It is. But it's pushed out enough that it shouldn't impact the current fiscal crisis. And what's interesting about it too is it's a lot of really permanent, high-paying jobs and an investment in the education side of things. And, for our union brothers and sisters, I've been hearing a lot in the building about how they're struggling, how building trades in particular is struggling. There's not a lot of jobs out there for folks. especially for like IBW and some of those unions. And so this would be a huge win for them. And so I think the difference between this and the stadium for me is that the stadium, first of all, who knows if it even happens? I still laugh about that. But second, those jobs are not high paying jobs. Those jobs are minimum wage jobs. Those are sometimes low wage jobs. And a lot of those are not union jobs. And so not only was the fiscal part of the stadium stupid, but that piece of the jobs piece is tough. This, I think, is a little bit smarter. So we'll see. I don't know. And I don't know if the governor is there or not. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Because there's going to be also all the governor's bills, his housing bills, his education bills. I mean, there is a lot. I'm looking at the timeline. I'm like, there is a lot left to do. But we'll see.
Add Sunday to your calendars, everyone. Or Saturday.
Let's hope. Add Monday. It's a holiday. You better be there.
Yeah, it's kind of.
When have we not worked on Memorial Day? Like, what? Yeah, like, so I don't know what the schedule is this week for the weekend, but let's hope they're working because, dear Lord.
Times. Well,
anyways.
Now you want to go to the local lowdown?
Yeah, a lot going on at home. Talk to us, Maria. What's happening in Vegas and Reno and beyond?
Yeah, so first off, Michelle Fiore got suspended with pay, but suspended from the Judicial Commission after her presidential pardon.
Really do not understand this. Like, why are we paying this person?
You know, it's just stuff she did a few years ago. I think her attorney said something like it's stuff that she did years ago. Yeah, and now she's a judge. It's kind of like saying, you know, this person just killed a person a few years ago. That's a terrible example. But no, it wasn't just like a minor crime. It was almost treasonous what she did. Like, she got cops killed.
It was gross. It was disgusting.
Like, and if you say no, she didn't get cops killed. The people they were literally there to follow the man that she was supporting, Bundy. Like, those people traveled to Vegas because they supported Bundy and they wanted to be part of this, and all of law enforcement is bad, and, you know, in this case, blue lives don't matter, I guess, and decided Metro's just like any other cop, like those BLM cops, and they can't have a CC's Pizza.
BLM, we mean Bureau of Land Management, not BLM in the context of Black Lives Matter. So BLM officers on the land, to be clear.
Because those were the ones before this would always get shot at by the Bundys. And they just took it out on Metro officers, having a CC's Pizza. And she was part of it.
She's so gross. Speaking of guns and gross people, let's talk about the shooting that happened in Las Vegas. One of our very good friends was in the gym when it happened. She posted about it on her Facebook page. Rifle malfunction. I mean, Metro was there pretty quick, but rifle malfunction, that was what primarily stopped him from shooting more people. I mean, even one life being taken is too many, but like, fucking horrifying. And it's right over by my mom and dad's house. It's near you. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Nick grew up across the street from that gym.
Yeah. Can't even go to the gym anymore. Like, we've talked about it when we've gone to movies. Like, what if this is the next one?
Yeah.
Now
it's always in the back of our heads.
Now it's
concerts, sporting events. I always think about it.
And, you know, you had asked me, like, what are people talking about? This is something that everybody at my nail salon was talking about. Every single person talked about it. Like, they all saw it on the news. They all thought it was terrible. And all of them.
Scary as hell.
And all of them, and there's some Republicans in there, all of them said, it's so awful that, like, one of them said, you are doing things in your daily life you should be doing, like going grocery shopping, having fun, you know, going to the gym and getting healthy. And this happens just because someone's pissed. Mentally
insane.
Yeah.
And again, it's not the mental illness that's the problem, it's the gun.
Yeah, and the access to the gun.
Yep. Yeah, in our old life, you know, we worked on gun violence prevention a lot, and when I saw it the other day, I was mortified. And then I saw our friend Lori's post that she was in there, and she went back and hid in the locker room. She said she could hear all the gunshots and stuff. And she said she was so afraid. And that's going to have a lasting impact on all of those people who are in that gym. It's going to have a lasting impact on them for the rest of their lives. But the fact that, this is a person who does my financial planning. Like, that, meet with her about money, right? I've known her through Emerge. I've known her through other things. I've known her for years. One of my friends posted on there. But how many people do we know who have been survivors or victims of gun violence? How many? You and we can name them. We know legislators, unfortunately. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about the dude who came at me with a gun. Like, what? How is this okay? And how is this normal? But, here we are. Ugh.
Speaking of how is this okay, terrible segue, but you want to know about the plan, just in case the A's don't happen?
Go on.
So, I'm just going to read you.
You're just going to make me more pissed off?
So, the Athletics in Clark County are set to enter into a performance, and we'll put the link. The Athletics in Clark County are, and Annette hasn't read this or seen this.
This is live reaction. I haven't read any of this yet.
So, Athletics in Clark County are set to enter a performance agreement to govern the steps to be taken if the MLB team starts construction on its planned ballpark, but doesn't end up finishing. The A's would be required to submit a security bond of $3.7 million as part of the performance agreement that will be up for approval at Wednesday's Clark County Zoning Commission meeting. That's tomorrow. The bond would be held by Clark County and would be used to decommission the stadium project should the team cease to work on the $1.75 billion project.
So let me start by saying, we told you so. I'm just going to say that out loud. The two of us told you so. This was the very last thing I worked on at our old organization, and this was the very last thing I worked on last session because it was its own special session. And I sat at the front of the assembly and raged about it, and I said, if this happened, I would tell you I told you so. So I told you so, because here we are. My live reaction. Isn't it telling? First of all, shout out to Clark County for planning ahead for what is inevitable because the A's do this shit all the time. Also, it's hilarious that they're so worried about the A's backtracking on this deal.
But they're like,
they're making them do this. They didn't even make the Raiders, who is notorious for doing this shit. They weren't worried about that. They were like, you know what, Raiders, also better deal, better financing deal. This deal was set up structurally better. We're not going to make you have this bond. But the A's, also, horrible team. Not going to bring in a lot of revenue. Not going to bring in a lot of people. We better hedge our bets and make these fuckers have a bond just to be safe. Shout out to the Clark County Commission.
Now that's
leadership. That's making sure the taxpayers aren't screwed when they back out because the economy's about to tank and we're going to be in trouble.
And that is what a people's branch of government should be doing. Wait a second. This smells like bullshit. I'm going to deal with it.
Maria, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the local lowdown.
If I could go back to ourselves 2 years ago and be like, so guess what? A week before Steiny Die in the 2025 session, you and Maria are going to be on a podcast reading this headline.
We'd be like, no
I'd
way.
be like, we told you so. Oh, fucking stupid.
Yeah. Crazy times. Well,
Hey, speaking of, let's talk about a local lowdown thing connected to this, though. I don't know if we all were paying attention, but I believe it was last week. It's all haze and it's all blending because I've been working a lot the past 2 weeks. But Reno, the local folks in Reno, the county, I believe, approved their publicly financed stadium. We'll get a link for this. But yeah, quietly approved that at the Grand Sierra, right outside of the airport, so that the UNR basketball team can basketball there, apparently. I'm like, now the college teams need their own stadium? I mean, to be fair, UNLV football is doing better, but the Raiders aren't.
If you build it, they will win.
Except if your name is the Raiders.
They don't.
Because they haven't fucking won yet. Anything.
Hey.
They barely win games.
UNLV should be winning and deserves to be winning because they're renting that mother. They're paying for that place. They're hoping to pay for that along with us.
Hang on, I just want to point something out. The Raiders won 4 games last season and lost 13. They were 4-13 last season. But if you build it, they will win. What a bunch of jackasses. Anyways, okay, moving on.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on out in the world? I mean, you've been stuck in the building.
Y'all, we gotta. First of all, before we get to any of this stuff, we gotta talk about that ship. Because I haven't really been paying attention to Trump, because it's better that I don't. That ship that hit the Brooklyn Bridge and those Mexican
Sailors.
naval people that, yeah, horrible.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was like, I was like, what the fuck could have happened? Lately, all these boats just like, how are you?
Like the planes falling out of the fucking sky.
Yeah.
Like anybody in U.S. territory apparently that can't navigate at this point.
So there's this thread from like a ship, someone that has been on Navy ships. They're like, I've never done a tall mast ship, and those are like a completely different thing, and they're really difficult to sail.
Yeah. And it had a tugboat with it, and it still did it.
Yeah. And this, well, it's interesting because this is where the tugboat comes in. So apparently, and I'll put the thread in the link in the chat there. What happened was, first of all, many people think it's sailing into the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's not, because what hits
it was going backwards.
It was going backwards because the motor stopped working and something stopped working, right? And we can't, sail without computers anymore. So basically
yeah, it said the ship's propeller was in reverse. I knew it was going backwards because you can tell because it's the back of the ship.
And because they couldn't fix the propeller going in reverse, the ship just ended up going in reverse, and the winds.
Why the hell did the tugboat not step in?
So apparently, in the U.S., the only place where tugboats are required to pull as much as they push is Europe. In the U.S., and especially the New York port, they don't, like most tugboats, just push the boat, right? They push it in and out, and then they just like help it out. But if you see where the tugboat is, it's only in the front, so it's not tied, and it can't pull it back, which it should. But the only place where a tugboat is required to be tied to the ship so that it can pull just in case this moment happens is Europe.
Man.
Not
and the
here.
picture, I mean, I'm looking at it on my other screen right now. I mean, I watched the video. It's horrifying. And like the Navy people, I mean, I've actually seen this in Mexico. It's a thing they do. It's beautiful. And
it's a beautiful ship.
It's a horrible, horrible accident. And you can tell because, you could tell the guys didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was going backwards.
Yeah.
Fucking scary as hell. Yeah. Apparently, the U.S. is cursed and nobody should come here.
Yeah, but, a lot of these shipping people are like, actually, internally, Mexican Navy's got to be like, what the fuck happened to the boat? And, how can we internally fix this? But also the tugboat, because that's what a tugboat is supposed to be for, in case something happens to the ship and it can't get itself out or into the port. Yeah. You're supposed to push properly in or pull it out. And if you're not tied to something, you can't pull. You need to be tied. It's like a truck, not a Tesla truck, but a normal truck. If it wanted to help a car, it would need to be tied to it to be able to pull it out of something. Tugboat wasn't pulled.
Anyways, yeah, we had to mention that because I was like, I didn't get to much. Well, I did get the next one. I did see that because I sent it to you. But the Mexican ship thing was just horrible. And it was like 1 a.m, and I opened up Facebook and I was like, what in the fuck? So yeah. Okay. Changing topics. Let's go to the next one, Maria.
JD Vance tried it again. Oh. Also,
the balls on this motherfucker to be like,
go again.
I killed one pope. Let me try again.
I'll go one more time. What was funny is the Pope's reaction to you would expect the first American Pope to be more like, oh my God, my vice president, one of my leaders. No, the Pope was like, and then in the other in the individual meeting where he gave him the letter from Trump, and the Pope literally did this, I'll read it at some point. I was like,
I'll get to it later, or I'll throw it in the fire.
But his meeting with Zelensky was totally happy, totally amazing. Vance, because And did you see where the Pope, I think it was before his mass, they asked him, any message to the United States? And he goes, yeah,
Many.
many. Oh my God. And
Also find it very interesting with the Pope, though, because his brother is like full on MAGA. They did a story on it.
mm-hmm.
And his brother was like, yeah, I might have to tone it down now that my brother is the Pope. I'm like, you think? Also, your brother clearly doesn't think the same things as you on this stuff. So maybe you should shut up a little bit, cray cray.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he is the symbolism of God on this earth now. Your brother is. So you might want to ask him, why do you think this way?
And your homies, JD Vance and co, killed the last one. So be careful what you wish for, bro.
Who put him there? Like he was literally mentored by Pope Francis.
Listen, okay. You literally pushed your way into a meeting. All jokes aside about JD Vance killing the Pope, because I firmly believe that, but all jokes aside on that, you pushed your way in to a meeting with a man who did not want to meet with you, had his lower ranking people meet with you because he was sick and he just wanted to do Easter Mass and he didn't want to put up your bullshit. Then the dude dies. And now you're going to try again? You're going to push your way in again? Again, that is some balls. The ego on this guy. And then he gave him like some jersey. What? Nobody wants your shit, JD Vance?
Bro is from Chicago. He probably has better jerseys.
Cubs? Bears? You don't want your shit? JD? Did you give him eyeliner too, homie?
Like, the White Sox literally named him their official Pope. I'm sure they've sent him a care package already.
I'm really disappointed in you because you missed one on here. Do you know which story you missed?
Mm-mm.
RFK literally swimming in shit. You missed
RFK
that.
swimming in poop. That was last week.
I know, but we didn't talk last week, so we gotta catch people up, because this...
Yeah.
I was like a dream come true. I'm like, homie's getting more brainworms now.
He literally, the worms called him home.
I saw a meme or a video on Instagram, and the other brainworm was talking. It was like calling for his brothers and sisters.
You know, you're gonna need a lot of fluoride.
He literally took his... Okay, so as if it's not irresponsible enough for your weird ass to go in poop swamp, then you're going to take your grandkids in there with them? Don't you want them to have a fighting chance not to have brainworms?
Apparently not.
Don't you want to not pass your parasites to your grandkids?
Fluoride, no. Parasites, yes.
Shit water, yes.
You know, I prefer fluoride in my water over...
Hit me. Hit me with it.
Helps with your teeth. You know, and it's crazy because a dentist had to come on the news to explain why fluoride...
The science of fluoride and why all of our teeth are no longer falling out of our heads.
The reason why is because brushing your teeth is, you know, not everyone does it, but we need to care for people. And so guess what? We're going to put fluoride in water because guess what? Death comes through the gums first. And like it can affect your health. Like in general, the state of your teeth and your gums can affect the rest of your health. And so
of course,
she was like, that's why we have fluoride in water, because scientists and dentists and doctors were like, you know, lots of diseases come from lack of dental care. Not everybody does it on a daily basis. They should. But we're just, you know, we can control this. Just put a little fluoride in it.
Listen, I will continue putting fluoride in my mouth.
I'll
because
put
my teeth.
I'll buy fluoride packets and just put it in.
Well, and just look at our teeth compared to our older family's teeth who came from the homeland. Look at our parents' teeth, right? Like, I am so lucky. I have beautiful teeth thanks to my mom and dad. We had dental care growing up. We had fluoride growing up. Like, it's amazing what science and technology and things that are good for you can do.
Yeah, look.
But I'm not going to take and I know he told us not to, but I'm definitely not going to take my medical advice from a man who swims in shit water.
Christy
I'm good.
Traveled to Texas and paid like thousands of dollars to get new teeth. So apparently they do care about teeth, but maybe people won't have to pay thousands of dollars and just simply, you know, do things like
preventative care
and have fluoride in their water so that they can be strong.
Listen, poop brains ain't telling me what to do. I'm not taking advice from that weird ass motherfucker. Anyways, I had to say it because I was like, There's something we're missing from last week that we had to talk about. We had to get it in. That's all. Okay, talk about Poland.
Very quickly, Poland and Romania did the right thing and told Putin to fuck off. Romania with a far larger margin, but yeah, good job, Poland and Romania. Shout out to you.
Protecting democracy. We're proud of you.
You, Poland and Romania, you know, they're
Listen,
the far
Europe
right
is
still got
Europe
some votes,
is
but
like, we've done this. We've seen the Nazis. We ain't doing it again. America's out here like, YOLO. We'll try again.
Europe is like, look, we YOLO'd thousands of years ago. We're done with YOLO.
We're good.
We would like social safety nets and no fascists or dictatorships.
Yo, you yokels out in America, you can deal with your shit now. All of those who immigrated questionably from Europe to the United States, because by the way, all of you who are watching who are white, all of your relatives immigrated questionably from Europe. So just maybe think about that when you're talking about immigration. Anyways,
and those countries are like, that's fucking bullshit. Don't want to do that.
Reminder, Italians out there, you were called WAPs. That's all I'm saying. Without papers, that's what that means.
Without papers.
And it wasn't that far back in your generation, so
no.
Humble yourselves before you talk about immigration, you fools.
It's why Cosa Nostra, the mob, was kind of created, is to have your own, just like gangs usually get created. You get treated like shit by the authorities and by the cops. You can't find a job. You need to protect your community. You come together and you do what you gotta do.
Dummies. Anyways, okay. Polls show how Democrats can hurt Trump. If only they would pay attention.
It's that last part that gets me. I love it.
So glad that you're talking about this. Because shout out to my friend Jamie, our friend Jamie the other day. We were having this exact conversation. Sans this article about how the Democrats cannot get out of their own fucking way. So let's talk about that, Maria. Go ahead.
No, we would rather talk about Joe Biden still. He's no longer president.
Which, shout out to Joe Biden.
And Joe Biden.
Thoughts, prayers to him.
By the
Thoughts
way,
to him.
You can
healing vibes to Joe Biden.
By the way, everyone, you can get diagnosed for cancer at stage 9 in your first diagnosis. Like,
yeah,
cancer sometimes just pops up at whatever stage it wants.
Yeah. Again,
I had a tumor once, and it was gigantic on my first. You remember the baby, the stone baby. It was huge on its first diagnosis.
We laugh now.
But
we laugh through
to all those people on both sides, by the way, that are like, why didn't we know about this earlier? One, because one, he's not president anymore.
So fuck off.
Two, probably didn't know when he was president.
We just elected somebody who put somebody in a very important office who had a brainworm and swims in shit. And I don't think we're in any position to be talking about when Joe Biden should have been diagnosed with cancer. Fuck off.
And a president who looks the way he says he does. And says he's 150 pounds.
Cheeseburger blood, Donald Trump.
And says he's 150 pounds.
And I say this as a chunky person.
But we would rather focus on that and like outlets like CNN, for example, which fuck CNN, would rather constantly talk about a stupid-ass book with dumbass, just simple quotes from people, instead of actually holding the actual guy who's in charge accountable.
Listen, going back to the Democrats shitting the bed, let's talk about that for a moment. I am so sick of it. I gotta be honest, I am close, my friend, to becoming a nonpartisan.
Me too.
I have never felt that way in my life.
Yeah.
I've always thought of myself as like a through and through Dem, because for the majority of my life, they have upheld what I truly believe in. But boy, oh boy, not only are they shitting the bed at the federal level, they're shitting the bed at the local level too. That's why Nevada has gone the way it has. And again, let me be clear. If we cannot criticize our friends and hold our friends accountable,
then who do you criticize?
Then we can't hold the right accountable either. And I'm not saying the right is right. I think they're fucking psychos. Look at what they've done. They've swung so far right that they're losing people.
But hey, I can be a nonpartisan.
I'm pretty fucking progressive, and you're losing me. And not because I just think you're chaotic and unorganized Democrats. Not because of any other reason.
We don't believe in the actual issues like you do.
I don't even vote on like simple shit. And the not having a plan at the federal level thing. It's really starting to chat my ass. They're just flailing out there. They don't have a fucking plan. And where are the fucking progressives? Where are they? What are you doing? And yes, I am saying that to you directly. What the fuck are you doing? There's a Time article too that's like, the Democrats could win if they get out of their own way. And that's our problem. That is something that we have criticized time and time again. The Democrats overthink anything, everything, don't have a message plan, don't have a comm strategy. And listen, I don't think what the right says is correct or right or even nice, or most of it's racist garbage. But here's the thing.
They're
They have a
strategic
plan,
about it.
and they're strategic, and they stick to their garbage racist shit, and that's why they win.
And you know
And I'm
what?
not saying we should be garbage racist. Just pick something and stick to it.
And don't be short term. Don't just think about who's going to run for president next. Think long term.
Or who's going to run for governor, AG, Secretary of State. Have a long-term plan. Build the fucking bench.
And
with smart people.
you know the problem that a lot of people, and this is something we talk about in my day job too, is people, regular schmegular, like Cardi B would say, people look at the Democratic Party like they're an elite party now. Like they're not the big tent party that they were before. And
think about who runs the party. We know who runs the party. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, y'all, but you can't blame people for being like, I don't want to be a part of that anymore. No.
I am so over the disorganization, the dysfunctional nature of the party. And listen, you know, I was outspoken when Bernard ran. I do not like Bernard. Anybody who knows me knows I do not like Bernard. I won't call him by his fake name. I call him Bernard because that is his name. I do not think he inspires people. I do not like him. I think he is a problem. I also think there are a lot of people elected currently in the Democratic Party who stand for nothing, who are also a problem, who are more conservative and are also a problem. So don't give me this shit that I'm super left. I'm not super left. I'm actually, at this point, I'm fucking fairly moderate considering all the things that I've seen. But at the end of the day, it's the dysfunctional disorganization that is going to kill this party. And I'm sick of it. It's embarrassing.
Totally agree.
And here's the thing. We can have a field strategy all day long. But if you keep fucking pissing off, you know, we all like to talk about the Reed machine. And the Reed machine is real. But if you keep pissing off the 800-pound gorilla, which is culinary, which has happened this session, by the way, they're not going to walk for you. If you also keep pissing off your moderate friends, like business, they're not going to walk for you.
Yeah, because guess what? All those...
So stand for something.
Those people, those entities, culinary, business, labor, whatever, all of these, they're not just, I don't know, lobbyists you might hate, or, staff that, for that organization you might hate because this happened or that happened and you really want to get at them. They're the people that run this state, actually run this state. The people that clean the beds, like my mom did for 35 years. They're the people that run our businesses, that pay into our revenue, and the people that at the end of the day go out and cast their ballots, one way or another. And this, friends, is how you lose people in every category and every demographic, which we did in the presidential election. Maybe learn a lesson.
No, just keep doing shit the same way it's always been done.
And by the way, this
right?
segment is next, but that's my hot take and my headache is those things we just talked about because it's bullshit.
I'm so sick of it.
It's May in the year of our Lord 2025 under the Trump regime, and you haven't figured it out? Democratic Party?
Whatever. All right.
What's your hot take and what's your headache?
Well, my headache's definitely the legislature. So, the legislature? My other headache is my toenail broke in half this weekend while I was doing that big event. And it really is bothering me. So, that's my personal headache, my personal trauma. But yeah, the shit show we call the Nevada legislature is going to be my headache for the next week. And then I'm done. Then I'm coming home and I can't wait. And I'm excited that I'm keeping many of my clients on past the legislature. And I'm really hopeful that some of our bills will get signed by the governor. So
Hell
We'll
yeah.
see.
That's what matters. Well, Annette, before we go.
What's yours? Wait, go back.
No, that.
Rage one more time.
Democrats, anti-Trump people, get it fucking together. Learn your fucking lesson. And and this I will. I don't stand by anything that Trump represents, but the man is strategic.
Look at your shirt, for God's sake.
Like, I had to buy this. Like it, but that's credit where credit is due. His people know what they're doing. And when you have a foe that knows what they're doing, you have to, one, acknowledge it, and two, be better.
Listen, and I'm not saying like his social media is good, because he posted this picture
terrible.
this weekend.
No, he's terrible.
His like weird ass hair, like that. He has to do that himself. Like,
the only
was,
social media that has ever been good was his very first, and I don't think it was his. I think it was a staffer that wrote it about the Pope, like congratulating the Pope. I remember reading it.
Yeah, because anything that's normal is fine. And then he like starts dressing like the Pope and doing AI images of like the wrong color Star Wars lightsabers. Anyways, it's a hot mess. But yeah. Okay. Before we go, it's time for the final bell. What do you want people to take away this week, or your mic drop moment?
Urge everyone to participate fully in the next 2 weeks of the legislature.
Yes.
And this is not me out here being a witch or evil witch or whatever, but I would love it if you think
you better be careful. They're going to think we're scheming and up to something. It's all because we're telling people to participate in their democracy, Maria.
I believe that's civic engagement.
Apparently we're just supposed to elect these fuckers because they tell us so.
Civic engagement is so important to us in this country, and in effort of the ever-evolving effort of democracy in society, that it is protected by its tax status. That's how important civic engagement is, everyone.
Well, it's protected for now.
For now. Might not be in a few weeks, months, but while you can, be engaged civically. And this isn't just
how we still have a government. Participate.
And this is, if you completely disagree with us and you're like, y'all are fucking wrong and stupid,
say that too. Hold us accountable.
Make your opinion known here and in the legislature. If you're like, I'm totally against them on the pet stuff, go tell your legislator. Tell your legislator you're against,
or any bill for that matter.
Or if you're like, I hate bringing jobs to Nevada, I'm going to go against labor on whatever. Do it. That is what this whole system exists for, especially in the legislature.
Listen, I don't agree with Janine Hansen on a fucking thing.
She is.
But when Janine shows up,
I respect her.
I listen. I respect a fucking word she says, but I respect the fact that she shows up and participates. And that should be protected, whether I agree with her or not. Wholeheartedly. That's right. I see you. Yeah, that's the other thing. Just hang on before we go. Speaking of James Settlemeyer, speaking of Hafen, gay recognizes gay. They never got mad at us when we would fuck with them.
They'd be like, I see you.
I see you. Just saying, game recognizes, and they don't, listen, to be fair, and I'd say this to Haven's face, so I'm not speaking out of school here. I don't think the Republicans in the state really have that much game. I think they did kind of get lucky with Donald Trump and him winning because, like, they're kind of a shit show within the party. But the governor's staff has a good game, has a good ground game. And the Democrats should be worried about that because the governor understands organizing and is smart. And these Republicans in the Assembly and Senate are following the governor now.
Yes.
Whose staff is also smart.
You want to know how many times I've gotten the voucher ads in Spanish on Hulu?
We're so stupid.
Every
Dems are so stupid.
Fucking day for the last few weeks. And it is a good ad. Terrible
They're gonna
issue. Good ad.
I told somebody this the other day. You want to start talking about charter school teachers' pay and all this shit? Dems are going to lose. And I'm worried about it. I'm very worried about it. Because how many times have we beaten back the voucher issue? We've worked with Dems, Speaker Frierson.
Every time
thus far. The voucher issue. Every time. Here we are. We'll have to see.
Oh, well. Was that your Hunnabell?
Listen, I got a lot of hot takes right now, and I'm also exhausted. So that's our show for the week.
Woo!
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate you. Thanks for letting us take a week off because we needed to rest our brains, and there was a lot going on in our lives. That's all the time we have this week for 1 Minute Recess. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, participate in your democracy because you're allowed to do that as a United States citizen, voter. So please participate in your democracy and share this with your friends and family. Moran?
Yeah, and we will be back next week with more nonsense. We'll see how things are 1 week before Sine Die. We'll get you...
Y'all are going to have to do a wellness check on me next week.
Actual wellness check, probably. And we'll be back with more. So in between now and then, stay sharp, stay sassy, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.